Hello and welcome to another episode of the Viral Culture Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Chabaya, and today I am with Consoli Mbabazi.
Yes.
Consoli is from Rwanda, and we're going to learn a little bit about her today. So, can you tell us a little bit about where you're at right now, kind of like what you're studying?
In my life?
Yeah.
Yes. So I am at Columbia College. I am an education major. I am actually on a full ride scholarship from like Columbia Public Schools.
Ooh, nice.
It's like a education teaching. It's a teaching scholarship. So for however many years I'm going to school is how many years I will have to stay here in Columbia and teach in the district.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a grow your own like scholarship type thing.
That's cool though.
Yeah. I like to dance. That's usually what my extracurricular activity is. Usually doing something with like dance and stuff like that.
And what year are you at Columbia?
I am a sophomore right now.
Nice. Okay. And so I'm assuming you've been in Columbia. You went to high school in Columbia? That's how you got the scholarship?
Yes. I've been here for 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I feel like I've gotten used to things. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. We'll start all the way at the beginning then.
Okay,
So
okay.
talk about as early as you can remember back home in Rwanda.
Back home in Rwanda. So talk about life there. or- Well, I was 9 when we moved here. So
Wow.
yes. So I was still like at that age where I knew, of course, the home life. I knew, what was going on. I wasn't like so older to know everything, but of course
You were aware of
yeah,
certain things.
but I don't have a lot of bad memories actually from home. I had a pretty good childhood. Yeah, I don't know. Like it was pretty good. Went to school, home, church. Regular like kid childhood. Yeah.
What about the schools? How much do you remember about the schools? Like, was they in comparison to here? What you kind of experienced when you got here?
In comparison here, it's so much more. I feel like rigorous. Like, I feel like school back then, like, I don't know if I feel like even just African schools, like they're so like intense, like in line, like everything is like, this is how we're gonna do it. This is, I don't know, like even just the subjects or how long we're in schools, like the teachers, like everything is so much more serious.
Yeah.
I don't know, and even the kids take school very serious. We don't have free school, so like elementary, secondary, like you have to pay to go to school. So not many kids or not many students have opportunities to go to school. So like those that can pay, of course, they're putting in work and studying hard and doing that.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that. I mean, I think I said it as well. I've said it on a bunch of these, now, to where for some reason, it's just more vigorous, like the training. And I think a lot of it has to do with sort of the classroom dynamic. Because I don't know how it was for you, if it was similar, but it seems like in my education, like whenever I was back home, the teacher was kind of had the control of the classroom.
Oh yeah.
And they kind of like, so because they had control, you were like more willing to like you had to do the homework. I won't say like willing, but it was more like you felt like you had to do the homework. But then when I got here, it was a stage where
it's so relaxed.
Everyone was.
It's so relaxed.
I will never forget the first day I walked into my first classroom and I saw like half the classroom was on their phones, and I was like,
what?
Like, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what? That's so disrespectful. Like we were told like. First of all, we didn't even have phones in class.
Okay.
Like that was, if you did that was you knew you were in trouble.
Even taking it to school.
Yeah, right.
What?
You weren't even allowed to have your phone at school, so it was one of those things where
like
it took me a while to get used to.
Like it's like the smallest things, like uniform, like the time you're there, like you can't leave, like all the rules are just followed. So like
it's so structured.
Yeah.
But here it's sort of just like
it's like the opposite.
Exactly.
Like, so that was a big surprise for me too. Like, oh my gosh, like wow. And there are good and bad things that I like about both.
Yeah, that's true. With everything.
Yeah.
Like, so were you in like a day school? Was it like a boarding school situation? Do you remember?
It was just a regular like day school.
Day school. Okay, nice.
But of course, it was like elementary to like 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's kind of I don't know if they have schools like that here, but like so I was going to school with like my older sister who was like 20, so yeah.
Huh. So is it the school, like the way they structure like the naming of it, is it like same here where it goes to 12th grade, or do they do something else? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, so when I go to school, we called it like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade up to grade 7. But here they call it like 12th grade and 13. But we went grade 1 through 7, then we went Form 1 through 6.
Yes, ours is the same.
Okay, so it's kind of the same thing.
like primary and then secondary.
Yes. So it is the same thing to it. Okay, so here I was trying to make sure we're all in the same.
Yes.
Like,
so that is something that's different. Yeah, their system here.
Yeah. So what was like the education system based on? Is it like a British system then? Like, was it, you know what I mean?
Yes. I think it was British based.
That would make sense that it would be like ours then, because we were also like on the British base.
But I feel like it just recently changed because when I was going to school, we were learning French, like.
Oh, okay.
Automatically, like all my older siblings, like my parents, they all just speak French because it was required in school. But today they're learning English.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So many of the kids that, my cousins and everybody, they come here and they're like fluent in English, but not really a lot of French, So I feel like
it's
I don't
flipped
know
over
what,
something.
But yeah.
That's interesting. I'm interested to know like what happened to make that.
Search it up or something.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. Give me some homework to do over here. So what about religion? Like, what are the religion like? Is there? Were you aware of that? I guess at that age, because you were still pretty young. Like, is everyone like majority Christian or like majority?
Yes, definitely everyone's majority Christian. I don't know if I've even never saw a Muslim person actually.
I think
because I don't know. Like, I don't know. Rwanda is very small and like everybody like that's the number one like religion there. So I feel like that's the majority. My dad's a preacher, so
okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
religion is actually like really big in our family. And important.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. For Zimbabwe, like I agree with you because we didn't really. I feel like the more. Okay, I was like in boarding school, so I was very like narrowed viewed because I would only see what was at school. But there was one family that was Muslim. I remember that was in our. I hope it was Muslim. I don't want to butcher it and then be like, they listen to it like that wasn't a religion.
Yeah, very rare, very rare.
Yeah, it was. It stood out to me because I was like, that's different because they had like a little elephant, like little thing that they used to like do prayers and stuff. Like it was just so like I'd never seen that before. Just someone at that age.
Same.
But now that you're here, you see like so many different types of things. I'm like,
yes, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice to see different things.
Yes.
Anything else you remember from home, like the food, like
what?
Like what was it?
Of course. Actually, I just went back. I was there this previous summer.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was. I know. I know, but it was time. I mean, like after 10 years, like.
Yeah, you gotta go back and just get.
I mean, for me, it wasn't as hard, but like. My mom, like, she hasn't seen her siblings, like, nieces, nephews, like, any of the people that she was related to for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's a long time to be separated from family,
Yeah.
But it was awesome. Definitely. Oh, the food. The food is something you can't forget. Like, everything is just so natural. Like, what? Fresh bread, like, you go and you buy, like, they just made it and you buy it,
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that is awesome. Like fresh everything.
It's hard to explain or kind of like articulate to people who've always been here.
Yeah.
The difference when you try to explain like food, like
man.
It's just different. Like it just tastes real. I don't know if it's a bad word to say, but it tastes real. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to guess like this be chicken or is this like really
we had an avocado tree in our front yard.
Oh, nice.
We had a banana tree in our backyard as well. So just like small things like that, like just going and picking up a banana from my backyard.
The freshest, like that's as fresh as it gets. Like you just pick it right off the thing. So
so definitely the food is number one. Like there's nothing better.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like specific like food that's specific to you guys? That's like a dish that you could say maybe you recommend to people should they ever be in that part of the world?
I don't know if we have something specific because I feel like Africa in general, we have like specific, or like I would say maybe for us East Africans, like we share like a culture, but I would say probably rice. rice with like just a regular dish, rice with some chicken, soup. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like cooked a specific way or anything, or is it just like it just tastes different just because it's like from it's real? I guess it's real.
I don't know. I mean, that's just usually like that's just a normal meal that we eat. Yeah.
I feel you. I understand. Like we were kind of the same. We had a couple of like traditional foods, but I get what you're saying. To where you know you kind of just it is still food at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know? It's like we all eat food, so it's you know there's not that much difference. So what about do you guys have any like specific big holidays or something like that you can recall, like not like this like Christmas is not like religious based holiday, but like maybe a sort of traditional sort of holiday that you guys celebrate or anything like that?
I don't. Either I don't know or I don't think so. Yeah, you know, just even celebrating stuff is kind of new.
Yeah.
Like we really didn't celebrate birthdays, like not like here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Christmas was the only thing we really like went all out for. But like other holidays, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We do. I know today. We have like every first. I don't know if this is a holiday. That's not a holiday.
I mean, you can still share.
Okay.
It's up to you. You can still,
like every like in right now, like today in Kigali, like every first Saturday of the month or something, there's like it's called Umuganda Day, and it's just where like there's nothing going on, like like everything's closed down, like or like I don't know if it's all day or like just in the morning, but so the community gets together and everybody just cleans.
Huh.
Yes.
Like the city, like
the city, the community. Okay. So like you'll be in charge of like certain like they'll be like, okay, you know, you guys, this family, you guys are gonna go over there. You're gonna help this area, but like it's just like just a clean day, you know, and like just the community.
And no one's like getting paid. Everyone's just cleaning the community.
Yeah.
Huh. That would not happen in most places around the world.
You know, it's. I was like I found out about it when I went back home. And I was like, what?
So it's called what's it?
Umuganda.
Umuganda Day.
Umuganda Day, yes. I was like, that's awesome. That's really
like,
nice.
That's really cool. That's kind of like just, I mean, it makes sense. You clean up your own community, you know, it's like, you guys live here. You might as well make sure it looks nice. You want it to look nice.
Yes. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think Kigali is one of the cleanest cities actually in Africa.
I mean, that makes sense if you like, you know, that's actually like one of the things. That's a unique policy, but it shouldn't be unique. You know what I mean? Like
it is a policy, like you have to, like you don't have a choice. But it's really,
but it's one of those things where like if I'm being forced to do something, at least I'm benefiting out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it's like you're being forced to do a good thing. Like,
yeah, it's not like you're forcing me to like do a bad thing. I'm cleaning up like where I will be living, where I'll be driving by. You know, where.
But like that day, like you don't have to work. Like everything is down. It's just a day to just relax and just clean up, be with the community and stuff like that.
And it builds community because you're within because. Like I'll tell you right now, I have no idea what my neighbors' names are. Like I have no idea what like the people who live around there because it's sort of like an individualist mindset you have to where like I'm kind of just doing my own thing because you're not taught like the communityness, but which I think that's unique to.
I was like, wow, it really surprised me because I was like, wow, like. If other cities like implemented this or did something like
everything
this,
would be
like,
clean.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And it would also impact you in a way where you wouldn't make a mess. Like you know, how people just throw stuff out the window because you're like, I'm gonna have to clean that up.
You know? Like oh my gosh.
So I think it goes full circle. It goes full circle because there's less for you to do because you don't want to mess up. So that's really awesome.
It's very like neat. It has very crazy like even throwing stuff on the ground like that's illegal like. Here it is too, but there it is. Like it's enforced. Oh. Yes, like so.
It should be, I think, because pollution is it's a lazy thing to do. Man. Like there's trash cans everywhere. It's like it's the 21st century. You can just put it in your car or put it somewhere and just like I'll hold on to it and throw it away.
Yes, I watched a video actually, and it was about this American guy who went there and he was scared to throw a toothpick on the floor. I was like, no, serious.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was like a toothpick. Wow.
What? So wow. So what's the punishment if you get? Is it do you like jail time? It's a fine, or is it?
Yeah, something like that for real. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I think it seems stricter first. You know, it's gonna be like, oh, I know someone's watching my back. But at the end of the day, it's like, just pick it up. You know, like why are you throwing it on the ground in the first place? So. Are you from Kigali then?
Yes.
So is that like one of the bigger cities? I'm assuming the capital city or something.
It is the capital. Yes.
Hey, there you go. Nice. So what all is like? What's the setup like? What does it look like? Obviously, it's clean.
It's really it's really beautiful. Because
I'm only asking because a lot of people, when you ask them about Africa, you know, they always assume, oh, it's just hot. Have they even seen a building? So you know, I want you to. Tell the world that it's not that, and that it's. First of all, we already know it's clean people, so there's no need to. It's one of the cleanest cities in Africa. Yes. I know some people's minds, they might be like, well, how clean is Africa?
We've also banned plastic bags.
You banned it in the whole country?
Yes.
That's very forward thinking. Like
our president is really
doing
some stuff. Yeah, so that adds to the cleanliness. That's we would go to the store and they hand out what are they called?
Bags?
Yes, the sacks, plastic. I don't know what they're called. Brown sacks.
Yeah.
I
think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there is no plastic bags anywhere.
You see, people Africa is not behind the times, guys. Man. We are ahead of the time. I mean, they are. I think Kigali seems like they're on top of the
taking little steps.
And did you say your president?
Oh, he.
Okay.
Man, if it was a she,
yeah,
wow.
I was like, that's okay. Wow. That's you guys are way ahead of the time. So sorry, I cut you up. Tell me a little bit about Kigali. Like, what were some of the things you did when you went back home? Like, what's
So it is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. It is so beautiful. If you go to Rwanda, you know, it's called the land of 1,000 hills. There's when you stand, you just look and you see mountains everywhere. There's really not a flat surface like here. It's literally mountains everywhere. Mm-hmm. We are famous for our mountain gorillas.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think we're the first in I think maybe 3 countries to have them.
Mountain gorillas?
Yes.
They're rare? They're that rare?
I think so.
That's cool.
I think so, yes.
You guys are leading in everything. You have something special for every day.
But it's pretty awesome because if you go to the city parts, it's like Chicago. It's really nice. It's better than Columbia here. I was dang. I was dang. This
even
is
you were I'm from here, but I'm dang.
To know that our city back home is bigger than the city back here, which is a thought that would surprise many people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so if you go to the city, it's wow, everything is so nice. But then still if you move a little backwards in the more rural areas, you see. Of course, the poor areas. Mm-hmm. You just see, I don't know,
that's everywhere though. It's not like a knock on there's always where there's everywhere there's poor people. That's real.
Yes, of course.
No matter what happens, if there's rich people, there has to be poor people at the other end.
Yes. But to know that it's just not everybody living in huts that's not. Some people. There are people that just have never even in Rwanda that have never been to that side of the country, just grew up in a city, are very city, live in the city life, Mm-hmm. So yeah
that's really cool though.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty nice
yeah. Okay, so it's so talk to me a little bit about how you came over here, what was the story, what was the reason, or was it
so my dad is a preacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was doing missionary work and stuff like that. He would go to different countries, and I think he came here on a mission, on a missionary trip, and I think he wanted to stay.
Okay.
So yeah. So once he was here, he just was able to get his visa and stuff. So he was here for 2 years before our family came.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So he was living in New Hampshire, and then he got everything together, and then he was able to bring us over. 2 years later, and then he decided to move to Columbia, Missouri. So we have been here ever since. I have a really big family. I think it was 10 of us.
Who moved over here?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I know. All together. All together. Because, yeah, it was 10. Uh-huh.
So it's obviously your mom and dad, then you, and then how many?
I have seven sisters and one brother.
Wow. Where are you? Like,
I'm in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, I'm like the fourth or fifth child. I'm like in the middle.
So your sisters and are only your sisters older than you then?
Yep. The brother is the youngest one, little one. Mm-hmm. Yes. But the rest are sisters, and most of them are older than me, and then a few younger than me.
Nice.
Yeah.
10 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot to move over like that.
I know.
That's like because moving in general is like a lot, but like I'm thinking like 10 people.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of cool though, because at least you weren't by yourself when you like
yes
came over. Because that would be...
yeah, because I have other family members that came by themselves, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know how. Like, it was hard. Like, I remember just getting lost, and I didn't speak. None of us spoke English.
When you guys got it?
Yes.
Because you spoke French, right?
Not French. We spoke our Kinyarwanda.
Oh, that's you guys' language.
Yes, that's our yeah.
What's it called again? One more time.
Kinyarwanda.
Kinyarwanda.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why we spoke, but no English. So it was hard.
So none of you, not even including your sisters, who's like the older ones.
We came with my older cousin. I think he spoke a little English, but it was no one was fluent.
So, but I'm assuming your dad was.
Yes, my dad.
Since you did missionary work. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. So, are you still like? Do you still know how to speak your own language?
Yes. Yes.
You guys speak that when you're like by yourself.
At home, yeah.
That's always nice to like have a. Whenever you can, because first of all, it's good for gossiping reasons. I'm sure you know. When you're in a public and you want to talk about something, but like you know, you want everyone else to know. But it's just also good to be like, you still have that little piece. Like you might still be somewhere else, but you still have like your little. You don't forget kind of your roots, kind of. Cause
yes, it's nice. I feel like language is really weird. Like, if you're not using it, of course it's gonna go away. I feel like in my life, when I came here, I feel like that for a few years when I was trying to learn English, I feel like I kind of lost it because I wasn't really, my focus was, trying to learn English so that I could, go to school and do things. But I feel like it came back. I don't know. Like, I feel like there was a time where I just was struggling to just speak and say the words and stuff. But I feel like now I'm like fluent again. I don't know if...
Probably helped that you went back home.
Yeah. My cousins also moved to America, like recently, like a few months ago.
Okay.
Yes. So I feel like just having that community of people that speak your language is really nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're probably fine because you said now everyone's learning English. So
they speak perfect English.
Like, so they're like they're just transitioning
for
really
real,
easily.
Yes. Yeah. Their assimilation was nice. Yeah.
So what those early years when you're saying you didn't speak English, like what were you doing? Like were you just going to school and just like not speaking and learning?
It was hard.
Yeah,
It was hard.
So 9, that makes you like what? Like third grade? Third grade.
Yep. So I feel like as a kid though, you pick up language pretty fast.
Yeah, you pick up. You're lucky because you were younger. I bet it was harder for your older sisters.
What? Yeah. And I thought it was hard as a child. So I feel like my mom still takes English classes. 10 years. Like, we've been here for that long,
Yeah.
So, and like my dad still has the biggest accent. Like, it's not going anywhere. But for us younger kids,
though. That's weird to me. Like, it's so weird because I've only been here 7 years now.
Yeah.
This is my 7th year here. So, but my accent's basically I'm in the middle. Like I'm almost, it's still kind of there, but
you hear it, but it's not like
it's not completely there.
Yes,
to where, but I've only been here 7 years. But you're telling me like your dad was here 2 years before you, plus those 10 years.
Yes.
So he's been here 12 years, and he still has his
It's accent. Ridiculous. Like you can't like.
I think it might be an age thing too, though, because I feel like the older, like I don't know, for me, like it's happening to me in particular, but when you're a kid, you just pick up languages, like because you haven't got that much in your head. But the older you are, you picked up so much, and you just don't have as much room for other things like that. So I think I have no science to back this up, but I would assume it's to do with the fact that you've got so much.
No, that's
and
right.
He lived in Rwanda longer than he did here still. So, it's still like he still has
Yes.
The accent will still be stronger.
Yes.
I feel like in that respect. So.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That's totally made up science, but it made sense in my head. There's no facts.
There's a reason behind it, but
it's somewhere in there. There's some facts. I don't know where.
But it was difficult. But I feel like I just picked it up really quickly.
Really?
For like a year or two, I was speaking English.
So like, so I'm trying to understand like what happens then
in school,
like in school when you're trying to learn when you don't speak the language, you know, because I never had to experience that because I already knew English when I came. So I'm trying to figure out like how would. Of course, like I guess classes back then aren't quite as complex.
Yeah.
So it's kind of maybe easier to pick up. Because people are still probably doing like English based lessons and stuff.
Yes. Of course, as a child, they just put me in elementary school, but like for my older siblings, they couldn't go to high school because if they don't speak, you know, like because high school is, you know, a lot harder, and if you don't speak English, it's very hard to pass a class, or you know, so like they had to like learn English first and then continue with their studies, you know.
Oh, wow.
But for us, you know, it was good that we were still young, so like we were able to just go straight into school and just submerge in that culture, and just being around everybody that's speaking English just picked it up very fast. But I don't know, I remember just sitting in class, like just not
knowing what's going on at all.
No idea. I remember my first day I went to Locust Elementary School. I don't know if you know about it.
Is that like close by?
No, it's like downtown.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's an awesome school. But I just like, I don't know, everything was so new. Like the littlest things that just you would never think like a child needs. Like I struggled to open my milk every day at lunch.
Really?
Every day. I never knew what side was. I couldn't read.
Oh, like the little corner.
Yeah, because every day I struggled because I didn't know which side said open.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
little things that just really like.
Yeah, because you don't really have that. You just have bottles.
Yeah,
right?
So everything was such a new experience. Getting lunch at school, like my dad had to come there the first day and help me, like tell me, like you know, you go through that line that, you know, like this is your number, like you gotta type in your lunch number. I was like, you know, everything is just so new.
That's great.
Yeah,
those are things you don't really think about because like that's a transition. Schools aren't like that. Like for us at all. Like we just you just go to school, go to eat. You know.
So just small things like that. Even I remember like learning the Pledge of Allegiance every day in the class. Everybody stood up and said the Pledge of Allegiance, and I never knew what
was going on.
What was going on, like what, or even just elementary school. I feel like there's lots of like references and learning to like TV shows and songs, and everything is like a song, and I just never knew what they were singing But yeah, I've come a long way.
Yeah, no, I could. Yeah, now you speak completely like fluent, so it's like.
Yeah. So just little things that really like I struggled with. I'm actually interning now or observing at Locust Street, and there's a student. We just got a student in our class who doesn't speak English.
So you're like, I can relate.
I'm like, you know, we are on the same page, like, man. But it's awesome. It's awesome. I like
That's really cool though, because for that student, it's important to like, it's one thing for someone else to tell you they get it, but you know, like I'm just like, I've never been what you've gone through, and I'm like, oh no, I get it,
man,
but in reality, I don't get it,
man.
But then if you know, like I told you, I've already been through what you're going through. It's one of those like, it means more, and you're more willing to like open up. Like she's probably gonna be more willing to open up and like tell you things, and you know, kind of.
Yes, I don't know why, but she comes and gives me hugs like all the time, and I'm like, I love it.
It's that relatability, you know. It's just like you feel familiar with. It's kind of like the feeling you get when you, let's say you're somewhere in a random area, and then you don't even know the person, but someone from your country like starts speaking your language. Yeah. Like instantly, you're just like, I don't even know you, but
hello.
Yeah. You know, it's that instant relatability, and that goes like such a long way.
Man.
And it kind of builds into. Does that build into like your career decision? Yes. Is that why you want to do that?
I actually want to teach ELL, English language learners.
Oh,
so
nice.
For people that have English as their second language, that's what I want to be in.
That's really cool because you understand it, and you
like I was trying to learn English, guys. Like I went through it, you know, I did it, so you guys, you know.
And you can maybe like teach them the process that you went through and be like, this is what I had to do, and like, you know, to get through it. That's really cool.
Yes,
I'm
excited.
Yeah, that shows it's one of those like you'll be passionate about it because it's so many people end up working in things they don't really care about.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that's such an unfortunate truth of life. But with something like this, you know, you'll be passionate about it because you understand like, oh, I went through that.
Yes.
And it'll never be boring because there's always more people, you know, coming through like that.
Oh my gosh, and every student is so different, and I'm excited. I cannot wait.
That's cool. I mean, you're halfway there, I guess. Yeah. Sophomore, you know, and you get to. That's a good thing about teaching as well, is you get to do these like sit-ins.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
way before, like, I don't know, Columbia College. I was like my first year, I was observing already. Like,
oh wow.
Yes, I had classes and they required hours already. I was like, okay, hey, that's awesome. So that's like they throw you in there, and of course, so you can teaching is like, I feel like you have to love it. Like you have to love it. You can't be like, I guess I'm gonna teach. Yeah, because that's, you know, there's a lot that goes into it.
I always think about that too, because I'm like, man, I like to think of myself as fairly patient, but sometimes like kids, we all know like at that age, I know how I was like at that age, so I'm like I wasn't like a bad kid, but I know how certain people around me were like, there were nightmares, and this is like in what we were talking about, like the strict schools. Now when we translate here to where everything's free, like everything's gonna be way more chaotic and like just kids like yelling things at you. I'm like,
it's crazy.
You have to be passionate. You're right, because I could not. It's definitely not for me. That would not go over well for me. Actually, like that's really cool. That also leads into like kind of like kind of like a little bit about what I'm hoping to be able to do is I want to work with like international students, because for me, part of the reason why I'm also doing this podcast is like, I found like a lot of times when I was in school, I don't know about you if it's the same for you, but it might be different because you sort of grew up here. But when you have a lot of like issues to talk about, you can't really go to like a faculty position to someone to be like, hey, so I'm kind of, this is what's going on. Like you said, like I came here by myself, like when I came over here. So the first person I met was like my advisor. Wow. Like the person who I've been emailing. Wow. And I was like, hey, so yeah. And she's like, okay, go to orientation. So like if I was ever like in a situation where, oh man, I have an issue, like I miss home or something like that, then, but I couldn't exactly, there wasn't that relatability factor that you're talking about, to where when you're teaching these kids, you know, it's like, I've been there, you know, and also that. So what I'm trying to do is sort of, I want to hopefully, in some capacity, work with like international students to where it's not really like constant. I want to like work with advising and like do activities and stuff, that's also fun. But I also want to be like that person who,
that's nice.
They know, like I've literally been through what you're going through. You know, I can tell you what you need to do. Like, I'll give you the real like story, because most people are, and it's not like a knock on people who do the job already, but like what they do is by the book. So like if I'm telling you, like if someone is teaching like the class you want to teach, it will be a situation where they have a book that tells them how to teach people in second language English. So, but you being through it, you have more to offer that person. So that's what I want to be. I want to make myself be that person to offer.
That would be really nice.
That support to the other, because I'm like, we all know the struggle. You know, like it's not easy.
I didn't know about like, there's a lot that goes into like being an international student, and I didn't know until I met my friend Melissa, who's also from Zimbabwe. But there are like certain like scholarships and certain things at school that like I'm a part of, and like grants and other stuff like that that she can't ever apply for, and like stuff like that, and just little things like, like I have a lot of international friends, so like I'm like, wow, like their problems, like I'm like, why is this like this? Why is there no one to facilitate, help you, like? And
there is like an office of international, but you know what I mean, like they rather feel comfortable talking to you about it, because they're like, you can understand it, to be like, look, this is what's but I'm gonna bet that they probably haven't been able to go and have that conversation with like, you know, an international, because like, you don't get it, you know. It's, I can't like articulate my frustration and be like, I can't, I'm supposed to like pay all this stuff, but I can't work, you know, like I can't work without paying for something else, you know. So you have to pay for that class to work, and I'm just like, so I'm trying to like, I want to be that person they can talk to, and hopefully try to kind of figure out solutions to give them more opportunities, because I'm like, first of all, I'm one of you, and second of all, you know, you can it's a struggle, and like we can only, everyone has to help each other. At the end of the day, like as a world, like we all have to be just be kind to each other. Obviously, not there's no need.
Yes.
We all try to get through and do the same thing, just be the best we can. So we just need to usher each other into into this.
Man, another thing, like I'm sorry, it's like it really makes me mad. Our school, like to stay in the housing like over break for international students, I feel like they have to pay during those breaks to stay on campus, you know? So like just little things like that, I feel like you brought me from my country. Like I just feel like I don't know.
You should understand and be like, I get it from a business perspective. Like, yeah, it's still being used, you know, there's electricity. But I'm like, at the same time,
we have like a 2-week break. Like I'm not gonna go back to Africa for 2 weeks. Like what? So then
pay how much for a flight?
Like, or even this money. Like I'm already from a different country. I don't have like the funds to pay for, you know, this break right now, or you know, for more housing. You know, or little things like that. I'm like.
See, but like I was fortunate. So one of the things what I would also like to do with that is like I was fortunate enough to. I'm a fairly social person to where like I was able to make good friends and you know, they always invited me to stay with them and stuff like that. So, but that's not the same truth for everyone. So you need to make, you know, be able to make those type of connections for people like, hey, so would you mind if so and so came and stayed with you guys for this week, so they don't have to pay. And it's a lot of people I found are actually interested. You know, the thing is like the purpose of this podcast is well to like educate people.
Yeah.
But it's also as in my experience, like a lot of people always have like several questions to ask, like whenever you're from another place.
Yeah.
Like, hey, so yeah, what about this? What's this like? So I feel like it's a good experience for both people to be like they get to learn, you know.
Nice.
So and you get to meet new people. Like it's difficult to be away from your family, but you can make like I have so many like second and third families here just because through my best friends and stuff. I'm like they always just say if you need anything, you can just.
We got you.
Yeah. So you need to make those connections, but. I understand that's not the case for
all the students.
Yeah, people are more reserved. You know, some people can be, but they need more help. So I want, but it's hard to open up to other people. So I'm trying to be that person,
or that advisor that you only talk to. You know, every once. You know.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I would hope to achieve, and you know, like that's something I would be more passionate than doing than being like in a business office or something.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see what happens because you know how hard it is to get a job. but you know, so you said okay. So earlier you also said you like to dance. So is that like a what kind of music do you listen to then? Like, do you listen to Rwandan music? Do you guys have like a specific genre?
Yes. I feel like I listen to all types of music, but of course, you know, African music is my favorites.
Do you guys have house music? Like, kind of like house, you know what I mean when I say house music? Like,
African my friend Melissa, she introduced me to house music.
Oh, Zimbabweans, we go hard to house music. I'm sorry.
And she showed me like the I don't know, I can't remember their names, but she showed me some like main songs. But we're gonna have to.
Because what happens is like it's been a while since I've been home. It's been 7 years, so I'm off. The house music I listen to is the house music I was listening to 7 years ago.
Wow.
So obviously there's been like a whole bunch of new stuff in that I just have been missing. But yeah, house music is it's good.
It is good. We have something like that. I don't know if it's called house music, but it's definitely like that vibe.
It's like dance music. It's hard to explain. Like it's not similar to here. I don't know how to define the music, but I would definitely recommend that people check out. I'll try to. It's up there. What about here? Like, who are some of your people you listen to?
Like American wise.
Yeah, probably that.
Regular people like Future, of course, Beyonce. You know, all those regular music. I like contemporary music too. Like, there is one of my favorite composers. His name is like, you know, I don't want to say.
You mean like the Mozarts and stuff like that?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Like,
wow, I didn't know you listened to that. That's only my study. I only do that when I'm trying to study because then I don't need words. So I could just
that's how we started. Because I would put it, but then I was like, hold on, like who is this?
Like,
and I would like just search it up. Like I found like. I don't know, like I found out like that I just really enjoyed it. Like I like that type. Yeah, like I would like die to see it live. Like I would go like and just sit and just like wow, like see the whole composition and everything. Like that would be amazing.
That kind of stuff is underrated. Like it's people don't appreciate. Like I also love like I don't know why I don't go. Like I don't really hear about it here, but I would love to. I like plays and stuff like that. Like whenever I almost went to Mamma Mia when it was like out here in St. Louis, but I was like I missed it because I was gonna go with my friend, but then he couldn't go. So like, but I like things like musicals and
yes,
like
I do too. Yes, musicals, plays, all that.
It's just one of those things that people wouldn't assume. People are like always say like, so what kind of music do you guys listen to? Because they just assume we only listen
regular
to
hip hop, R&B.
Yeah, like I get it too. I know what you guys listen to. So when you were back home still, I mean, you were very young, but like, did you guys like watch? When you watched like American, I'm assuming you always watched like American movies and shows and stuff like that. Were those like in your language or were they like in English then? Because if you watched it, how would you? You know what I mean?
Okay, so we didn't have TV for real, but like it was. I want to say it was in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because even we listened to like American songs too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's similar to like me listening to, I don't know if you remember that Gangnam Style song. But I don't really know what's being said. Yeah. But I'm just like, hey, I could get it behind this here. Like it's one of the.
Well, yes, I love like Nigerian music. Love.
I used to listen to Nigerian music.
But I can't tell you
what they're saying.
What?
Yeah.
What? But I would tell you like my favorite artists, favorite songs, all that. Like, but I have no idea what they're
That's
saying.
The thing about music. Like it transcends like the language barriers. Like it's just. I forget what the cheesy saying is. I don't know, but like it's just like a universal language. Like you can just get behind it.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
What do you guys have like certain dynamics like in a household? Like I'll say in Zimbabwe, like it's still pretty, I'll say traditional to where like my mom cooks, but I also have my own responsibility. Like I have responsibility. Like when I'm in the house, like I would have to like clean up and stuff like that. Do you guys have that kind of dynamic? Since there's like a lot of you, I would imagine you guys split that up pretty evenly.
It's still pretty traditional. I feel like, I don't know, from my people at least, that even though we come to America, like we don't really like lose our culture. Like I feel like our culture is actually like enforced so we don't like lose certain things. But of course, my mom cooks every night, every day. Every night, but it's not like she has to. Like I don't know. Like even just growing up, that's what I thought. Like a house looked like. Like the man went to work, of course, and then of course the woman, took care of the house and the small chores and stuff like that. But that was changed once I got here. I was like, okay, you could
do whatever,
anything, whatever, But,
and it's cool that you have that opportunity. But there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong by any means. But like the mom cooking for the family, I think. If you want to cook, like cook. Like at the end of the day, if you're happy doing it, as long as you're not like you're not being forced to do it. I don't think anyone should look down on someone and be like, "Oh, so why are you cooking?" Like, do you feel like?
I feel like she inspires me. I want to cook. I don't know. I want to cook every night for my family. Like
it's like food, and I think that's often a problem because you have to like food and family is like more of a family time.
Yes.
Like it's culturally like related because I feel like back home, like even for us, like whenever we ate, we were always like all together. Everyone would just be like talking about stuff and all that. So you kind of get that whole bond. So it's more than just like I have to cook. It's like I have to like get the family together.
It's very true. Very
true.
And
there are still I have some of my friends who one of my good friends, Lexi and her parents. They're traditionally like from the Slovakian areas, like in Europe, and even when they cook, like it's usually like everyone's together and like when we go to, because I go to her place for like they have a big festival, like celebrate their whole tradition and stuff, and everyone's just like together and like around food and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's why. Like it transcends food, you know what I mean? It's not just about food; it's like about bringing people together.
Yes, man.
And I feel like some of that is lost, and it's a good thing you guys haven't lost it because you're always like still together.
10 years later, like dang.
Yeah, because it's so easy to do. Honestly, even I come home and I just like I have my food like and I just make it and I'm like all right, eat and I'm done. And I kind of like I just eat by myself and I'm like cool, But it's more that community that I think.
Yes, there's no cooking for the individual.
Yeah, it shouldn't be looked at as she's just cooking because she's a woman. It's a community thing and family.
Yes. And
that's really cool.
She like honors and loves that. So I don't know. My mom is awesome. I look up to her a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I always look up to the generation above us because like for us, it's certainly easier because we were younger and we can assimilate a little better. But for them, like you were saying, like they hadn't been back in 10 years. So it was like, it's definitely like the transition was way harder. They had a lot more to leave behind.
Yes.
But like, the sacrifice is a lot more. And I always think about, like, I've had this discussion about with other people, like, I don't know if I would have been able to do that. Like, I look at it, I'm like, after like 40 years or 30 years in the country, just be like, all right, I'm just going to uproot my whole life.
It's crazy. Like, it's sad to think about, but like,
it's appreciated. You appreciate it though. Yes. Like it's one of those like, man, like that's.
It's nice. It's nice.
They put through all that just so like I could cruise through and be fine and not even have to think about anything like that. So I have another question. So how do you guys have any form of like disciplining like in the household? Like how does that work? So like I was a bad kid. I know I was like me and my mom. We were at ends, and when I was younger, like way younger, I used to do stupid stuff, and we would should discipline me like the stereotypical belts, and I'd run around the house. Is that running away from her? But like so is that like something that's similar to you guys? Like
what? Yes. Is that a question?
This is not abuse, by the way. Like it's just like this is something that's agreed. If it's just a cultural difference. Before anyone else starts calling the cops or something.
It's I don't know. I think it's a good thing, my household has never like been to the extreme.
Yeah, you understand the reason. Yes, it's like a disciplining.
Yes.
Like I messed up.
Even in schools, they still do it today. Like
in schools here?
No, in my country.
Okay, yeah. It's same with me. I was like, here, I don't think that. Might want to call the cops in that way.
But yeah, it's very normal. It's very normal.
And I think that also played into how serious the schools were. Because if you did something, it wasn't like, hey, you get detention, go sit in a room and do your homework.
No, like you were beaten.
Yeah, you were beaten. And it's like, I don't want to go through that. So
oh, no. Like, and just for, like, not doing your homework or talking in class, like, go to the wall. Like,
yeah.
Man, yeah.
It was, yeah. So, I wanted to ask as well, how did you end up getting the scholarship that you're on right now?
I have no idea. So, I did this little summer internship thing. I just signed up because I wanted to teach, of course. I was in high school. I was like, okay, you get to teach, you get to work in the classroom over the summer, just being with students. It was a paid internship. So, I was like, there you go. Of course. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
A little bit more incentive. Yeah. I'll go.
So, I was just, I did that internship for like summer school. I was in the class, every day. And then, so then I think my junior year, the summer of my junior year, and then senior year of high school, the superintendent of Columbia Public Schools sends me an email, and he's like, hey, I would like to have a meeting with you and your parents. So we had a meeting, and then he tells me about this Grow Your Own scholarship, and I was picked to be like one of the first recipients of this scholarship. Yeah, so I was in that office like, are you serious? Yeah. Like blown away, like no way. And they're like, everything is paid for, like
wow,
housing, books, like food, like
books.
Yeah, man,
that's the most expensive part of college right there.
Man, so I was like what?
That's really awesome though.
Like I'm still like, I just now like accepted it. I was like, dang, like okay, I've been going to school for free, like. So it was like a blessing. Like it was, especially coming from a big family. Like I knew, of course, I was gonna go to college, but of course I knew I was gonna
pay for it.
What?
Yeah. And there's 10 people.
Like I'm not gonna ask my dad for nothing, Yeah. So just being able to just have that opportunity was definitely life changing.
That's really
for me
cool.
and my family,
So that's actually really interesting because I know a lot of I guess. It's a little different with like PhD stuff because a few people I talk to PhD, they say like they go to Mizzou and they're like schools like that don't hire their own people, and that's because they'll be professors, so you don't like offer yourself. I don't know, something about like not having variety. You want to bring in new people.
Yes,
so I think that's actually really interesting. That at what age, what level are you gonna be teaching?
Elementary.
Elementary. Yes. So like it's cool that like elementary, like they're still like they don't that doesn't really matter. That's I wasn't aware. That's just something that was getting in my head. I was like, that's two different policies.
Yes, like
different levels of education.
Just having more like minority teachers in just the Columbia Public Schools is something like they were trying
pushing
to,
as well.
yes, yeah.
That's really another thing that also comes into like the whole relatability factor that, you know, there's a lot of like,
you know, everything was just really working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
I know.
Do you plan on like going up further, like trying to do like a grad school type?
I think so.
If they're like, yeah, we'll pay for your grad school.
I doubt it, but I definitely feel like I'm probably gonna teach elementary for a few years, and then probably just go to school and keep on going after that.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's awesome right there.
Yes.
Jeez, that's so. Do you? What about extracurricular wise, like sports? Do you do any sports or do you?
No. I've always wanted to, but never got a chance to. I've always wanted to play an instrument too.
Yeah.
Never got a chance to. I was
it's
always.
not too late.
You know.
You
are right. You are right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start. I've always wanted to play the violin. But
you can teach yourself on YouTube and stuff. You know, you don't have to like pay for the classes.
So right.
So it's like
so right.
I've always said I want to play an instrument, but I
want
never
to learn
had
a
the
few
time.
more languages. That's what I'm working on right now. I just want to teach myself a few more languages.
Oh, like how much do you know? You got obviously your language, English.
So I know, my language, English. I speak Swahili as well.
Oh, nice.
And then I took French. So I grew up speaking French. I forgot French in the process of learning English.
Yeah.
And then I took French all the way up to like AP French in high school. But I just feel like I don't like.
You can't get it.
I can read it, I understand, but it's just I don't feel like fluent, so I don't. You know, I feel like I need to go there too. That's somewhere I want to go. Just just
to see,
be in the culture. Kind of bring it back a little bit. But French, some other languages, I feel like. But yeah.
That's really cool though. Yeah, instruments is something like. I don't know. It's when I was in school. It was always stereotype. That's not cool to play instruments.
Yeah, like
and I was an idiot.
Band,
I look back on it and I'm like, I'm such an idiot. I could have learned how to play piano.
For real.
All that,
yes,
and I would be.
Yes.
Man, I would have. Yeah,
but,
I missed out on so much. It's not too late again. I've got other things to prioritize.
Man,
Once I am settled, like if I get my job and everything, I'm like, all right. Piano is the one I've always wanted to learn.
Man,
because it's just.
Man, and then if you have the piano, I feel like you really If you want to learn the guitar, you can. Just pick it up, it's gonna help you, and then from the guitar you can just learn any other so it just builds on.
I feel like it adds on to itself because you just once I guess you get that into that mindset, it's just it's like a language in itself. You just start like, oh, I can do that.
Explore it a little more. Yes.
Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully I can because that would be really cool.
But yeah, so all my time was just spent. I was dancing a lot. That's what I was. That's actually what took up most of my time. Like
dance classes and stuff?
Yes, yes.
Like what, like ballet or something like that? Or what do you...
I started in 4th grade with... I was in this step team. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Like Stomp the Yard stuff?
Yes! Yes! The Missouri High Steppers. I don't know.
They have those here?
What?
That's used to me.
We have performed in the Mizzou Homecoming Parade.
What?
Yes, I did it for I stopped in high school, so I did it for a few years.
Wow, yes. I did not know we had one of those out here.
It's fun. But yeah, I did that, and then I took some contemporary classes, and then I also do traditional dance. So I do a lot of different, yeah.
Have you ever participated in that international extravaganza? I think they do at Columbia College. I think that's specific to your region. Like if you were good at dance, like Rwandan dancers.
My friend Melissa actually, she wants to. I did something. I didn't do any. I went to it last year, but this year she wants us to participate and do an African dance or something like that. So I think we'll look into that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I know nothing. I can't dance. I am not going to participate. I don't know. I would just keep myself at bay. But okay, final we're kind of wrapping it up here. Okay. But when you were here, did you ever encounter any stereotypical dumb questions?
Man.
Man,
I'm really patient.
Yeah.
People say a lot of ignorant things.
Yeah, you just have to be like.
I'm like, they don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. They don't know.
That's why this is being done because we're trying to educate the people.
Hey, that's awesome. But I always get this. Do you wake up and see an elephant outside your window or a lion? And I'm like, no. No, but that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'm like, yeah, no. So I've gotten that question so many times. I'm just
like, does that seem safe to you? Like,
what?
Why
would I be living? What?
Like, what?
What?
I walk outside and there's a chance I'm gonna get run over by an elephant.
I've never seen any wild animals until I came to America.
Really?
Yes.
I went to like game parks and stuff like that. So I
never went to like
national park.
Yeah, national.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen my first elephants, lions, everything here in America.
What?
I know it kind of sucks.
You were really young though. Like
it
was different. Like if I had come at that age, I don't think I would have seen any either.
Yeah.
I don't think by like 9, I don't think I'd seen that much.
Yeah, but yeah.
That is so dumb because people are like, oh, so you guys have like lions randomly crossed. I'm like, does that even seem logical? Like, how could I be going to the store?
Just walking around?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And it's just going to eat me? Like, what?
What?
I think they're just friendly. This isn't the Lion King.
Not even, you didn't even say a goat or something, a cow.
Yeah.
A lion.
Like, it's going to kill me if it's there. Dude. Like, that's not.
Another one. Do you speak African?
Gosh. Like, what does that mean? Like, just weird.
I'm always like, African is not a language, but.
And it's not a country. Like, people think it's a country. I'm like,
man,
it's a continent.
Man.
Or you say something like, oh, yeah, I'm from Zimbabwe. Like, oh, do you know my friend from Nigeria? I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, you know, yeah,
yeah,
I do. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
He's down the street.
Yep, it's right down the street. I go down there every time.
But yeah, it's just, people have to be just a little more open-minded and aware. Like, the number one thing I always tell people is just to travel. Like, people that have never, like, I have friends that have never left Colombia. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, you need to go. Like, just go anywhere. Like, even I would say a different state, but that would give you
an experience.
Like
Well, even a state. If you haven't left Colombia,
yeah, you should go to
even a state. Yeah, it's gonna make a
just to
difference.
see like just a different environment, different people. I feel like teaches someone so much.
It's very big in terms of opening your eyes like to the world, because I feel like especially today where everything's so global. I can see like turn on my computer and look at what Rwanda looks like, or something like that, and people are like, oh, I've seen Rwanda. I know so much about it.
Yeah.
Watch like a Nat Geo video. I'm like, you don't really. You've seen it on, but you don't know it. So once you go there, you're like in it. And when I say go there, I also don't mean like, there's touristy things, but also you want to be like in it. Like you want to be in it and like actually see things, because then you can experience it.
Yeah.
So many people are like, oh, I've been to Mexico, and I'm like, you went to the beach, right? Yeah. You spent the whole weekend on the beach.
You were at the hotel the whole time. Like you
didn't go to Mexico.
No,
you went to the beach, man.
No.
Like that's a different.
Like I want you to just immerse yourself, like just
be in it. Like if you're gonna go somewhere, you should just take advantage fully and just see the whole place, and not just be like, I'm just gonna be the good part and stay over here.
Yeah,
so
man, life changing.
It really is. Like it opens your eyes on a lot of topics, and you understand a whole lot more people's perspectives, and like, oh, that's why you think that, because I see what you're growing up with now, and stuff like that, and it's just. It helps, especially in today's culture where everything is so like polarized. If you try to understand a little bit more where people are coming from, it's just like makes a big difference.
I did a little speech about traveling actually in one of my speech classes, and I think it was like 43% of Americans have passports, or something. It was a really low percent. I was like wow. I mean, okay. Like I was like, I'm not surprised, but like
it's really low still.
That sucks. Like.
You have to see the world. Then it's so easy to do it right now than it was like you can pay like maybe $400 and be able to go to like Spain.
Yeah, literally.
Of course, this costs once you get there, but I mean the flight in itself is like $400. I'm like, that's crazy. Like that wasn't there like years ago. Like that's something you can just do now.
Yes.
Okay, so to wrap it up, just a brief close. Like, do you have anyone you want to say thank you to or shout out to? Be like, hey, shout out to my boy, so and so, my girl.
I don't know.
I mean, you mentioned Melissa like a few times now,
yes,
so you should probably say shout out to Melissa.
Shout out to Melissa, my Zimbabwean friend. Shout out to my mom. Yeah, I think.
What's your mom's name? You can shout out.
My mom's name is Mary. Mary Chantal. She's the best. The most, like the most, just poised, just elegant, very just. A good lady, that's her.
Well, that's a good shout out right there.
Thank you.
Do you have anyone else? Like, I don't know.
Dang.
Before we close, I mean, this is your chance. I'm trying to give.
Shout out to my best friend Milani, Kiera, Tyus, and my family. Yep.
And I guess Ozoda, because I don't know her, but she's been getting me all these people to talk to.
Ozoda, I love you so much. I've known her. She was my first friend in America.
Oh wow, that's
yep. We
crazy.
go way back. Azada, shout out to you.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Well, and I hope she keeps finding more people for me to talk to.
Yes.
I've never actually met her, but I hope she does.
Awesome.
But that's really cool. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here, and I was with Consoli from Rwanda again, and let me know if you guys have any other questions, if you want to be on the show, and yeah, thanks for listening. See you next week.